Welcome to the Daily Recap. Someone allegedly opened fire near a White House Correspondents Association dinner event, and federal authorities believe the target was the President of the United States. Let that sink in for a second. In 2025, someone allegedly showed up near a gathering of top government officials and journalists with a firearm and a plan. So who is this person? What exactly went down? And how close did this actually get? Stay with us, because this one is wild from start to finish. Here is what we know right now. Federal authorities have identified a suspect believed to have opened fire near events connected to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, one of the most high-profile annual gatherings in Washington, D.C. This is the event where journalists, politicians, celebrities, and top officials all end up in the same room. It is a soft target in the sense that it is a social event, not a hardened military installation, which makes the alleged threat all the more alarming. Investigators believe the suspect specifically targeted President Trump, along with other senior officials who were expected to be in the area. The suspect is expected to face federal charges, including assault of a federal officer and using a firearm during a crime of violence. Those are serious federal charges. We are not talking about a misdemeanor. We are talking about charges that carry significant prison time. Authorities moved quickly. The arrest came before any officials were physically harmed, which tells you the security apparatus was at least partially working the way it is supposed to. But the fact that someone allegedly got close enough to make this a real situation, close enough that federal investigators are now describing Trump and other officials as likely intended targets. That is the detail that is going to dominate this story for days. The suspect's name and full background details are still being confirmed across official channels as of the time of this recording. Federal law enforcement, including agencies operating under the Department of Homeland Security umbrella, are actively involved. This is not a local police matter. This has escalated to the highest levels of federal law enforcement almost immediately. Let's be real about why this story is bigger than most people are treating it right now. This is an alleged assassination plot, or at minimum an alleged attack, targeting a sitting president of the United States. That does not happen often, and when it does, it reshapes everything, from how we talk about political violence to how we physically protect elected leaders. For everyday people, this matters in several ways. First, think about what this does to the political temperature in this country. We are already living through one of the most polarized periods in modern American history. An event like this, regardless of the motivation, pours fuel on that fire. It will be used by people across the political spectrum to make arguments, stoke fear, and push agendas. You will see that happen in real time over the coming weeks. Second, this affects public safety in a very direct way. When threats like this emerge around major public events, security protocols change. Future correspondence dinners, political rallies, state dinners, public appearances of senior officials, all of it gets reviewed. That costs money. It restricts access. It changes how normal civic life functions. Journalists who cover the White House, staffers who work in federal buildings, everyday people who attend public events near government officials, all of them are affected by the ripple effects of something like this. Third, the federal charges themselves matter. Assault of a federal officer and using a firearm during a crime of violence are not just legal labels. They signal that the Justice Department is treating this with maximum seriousness. That means resources. That means attention. And that means we are going to learn a lot more about this suspect's background, motivations, and any possible connections in the weeks ahead. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Political violence in America has been trending upward. We saw it on January 6, 2021. We saw attempted attacks on members of Congress. We saw the assassination attempt on Trump himself in Butler, Pennsylvania in July 2024. This is part of a pattern, and that pattern deserves serious public conversation. To understand why this moment feels so charged, you have to zoom out. Presidential security in America has evolved dramatically since the assassinations of Abraham Lincoln in 1865. James Garfield in 1881, William McKinley in 1901, and John F. Kennedy in 1963. Each of those tragedies forced a rethinking of how the country protects its leaders. The Secret Service was formally tasked with presidential protection in 1902, 1 year after McKinley was shot. Since then, the protocols have grown into one of the most sophisticated personal protection operations in the world. And yet, even with all of that infrastructure, the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting in July 2024 exposed real vulnerabilities. A gunman got close enough to wound Trump and kill a rally attendee. That incident triggered congressional hearings, leadership changes at the Secret Service, and a complete operational review. So when something like this happens now, it lands in a context where the public and federal watchdogs are already asking hard questions about whether protection protocols are adequate. That pressure makes the institutional response more intense, and it makes the political fallout more complicated. The White House Correspondents' Dinner itself has a long history dating back to 1920. It is famous for being a moment where political tension loosens up, even if just for one night. The fact that this event is now connected to an alleged federal threat changes its public image significantly and will likely influence how the event is handled going forward. Expect the legal process to move fast. Federal cases involving threats to the president are prosecuted aggressively. The suspect will be formally charged, and given the nature of the alleged offenses, pre-trial detention is very likely. No judge is releasing someone on bail when the alleged victim is the sitting president. Investigators will dig deep into motive. They will examine the suspect's communications, social media history, financial records, travel, and any known associates. The goal is to determine whether this was a lone actor or something larger. Congress will get involved, expect hearings, expect tough questions directed at the Secret Service and DHS about how this situation developed and whether it could have been caught sooner. And politically, this story will not fade quietly. Both sides of the aisle will frame it in ways that serve their narratives. Watch how that plays out carefully, because the spin will come fast and from every direction. Here is the bottom line. Someone allegedly targeted the President of the United States near one of Washington's biggest annual events. Federal charges are coming. Investigations are accelerating. And the questions this raises about political violence, security failures, and the state of American democracy are not going away anytime soon. This is a developing story, and we will keep tracking it. If you want the facts without the noise like this video, subscribe to the Daily Recap and hit the bell so you never miss an update.